Good day everyone and welcome to Exile News, the weekly show that brings you all the important news and informations on Path of Exile. So early this week, GGG released a first version of the Passive Tree, which doesn't really matter right now because the Talisman Challenge Leagues actually started this Friday. However, people were able to plan their builds in advance, so we're really grateful for that. Also, GGG released a development manifesto going over some of the main points of the update. So the spell damage progression has been buffed, which means that spells will have an increased damage at the later levels. Also, since on the passive tree now there are less area of effect bonuses, many of the AoE skills have been increased in their base radius. So this should balance out hopefully. However, having a bigger base radius makes items that gives increased radius more effective. Melee Splash has also been buffed, so it deals more damage, it has a larger range, it grows in range, it doesn't penalize damage, so it's really, should really be usable right now. Leech has also been buffed overall, especially on the skill tree. The nodes which gave Leech have now increased, and there's also elemental attack damage and physical attack damage Leech, so there's not only the classical attack Leech. Surgeon Flasks have been slightly nerfed, so instead of giving you one charge every time you crit, they now have a chance of giving you a charge. This is not going to change for the old flasks, so only new flasks, and if you use a divine on an old one, you probably also get this thing. However, Surgeon Flasks were really strong, so that's a needed nerf. Mana per level has been increased, and the melee mana cost of many skills have been buffed. More like, not buff, however, the mana cost of melee gems will not increase in levels, so that will help. Maybe you will now be able to run some melee skills without using blood magic, as blood magic was pretty much all that was used before. Point Blank has also been buffed. However, instead of buffing the damage, they reduced the drawbacks it had, so now instead of dealing 100% less damage, it deals only a 50% less damage if you hit a far away enemy. And also, it retains this damage over a longer distance. However, I don't think that's really going to change much. Point Blank is pretty much always used with the Chainsaw, and as far as I'm concerned, with traps. So bow and bow skills have also been reworked, more like looked into, and some of those have been buffed, especially Rain of Arrows, which now has more damage and increased AoE while leveling, so that should be pretty good. Poison Arrow has been nerfed, and that's obvious because the new support gems will be really strong with it. So Poison Arrow is still really strong, it's just more in line thanks to the new supports. They can use it. It's also been renamed to Caustic Arrow, a name that I personally don't like, but you know, whatever. Flame Totem has been slightly nerfed early on, however it's been slightly buffed at higher levels, so it's more of an actual skill rather than just a simple leveling tools. Some Raging Spirits, kind of the same thing, except the opposite, so you can now probably use Raging Spirits better in the early levels, and it now deals less damage, however, when you are like in the high levels. However, it's still really strong, so you do not have to worry about that. Zombies have been buffed. They also use melee AoE skills from time to time now, so probably to make them less reliant on Melee Splash. Lazy Spectres have been buffed at lower levels, so you might be able to use them early. I do not think so anyway. Incinerate has obviously been nerfed after the previous leagues pretty much being League of Incinerate. It's a much needed nerf. Incinerate is probably still really strong. You do not see it very much played at the moment, just because there are new skills and people like to use new stuff. Cyclone has been very slightly nerfed. Still really strong melee skill, probably one of the strongest yet. Magma Orb and Arc have been buffed, so Arc now chains more, which is always good. Magma Orb also chains more. However, I do not think Magma Orb needs that. I think it just needs kind of like a complete rework, to be honest. It's just the feeling of using this skill that just is bad. It's straight up bad. So, yeah, I don't think Magma Orb is good. I mean, it might be good in damage, it just feels awful to play, so I don't know about that. Searing Bond has also been very much buffed, as you can use 2 totems without using the Ancestral Bond Keystone. So you can actually have 1 free Searing Bond and use your Flame Totem, so that's pretty crazy. Searing Bond only so it's kind of success when Invasion first hit, because every other skill will get you killed. However, maybe now it will be used especially for leveling, so we'll see about that. However, the Dark Shrine event also ended, so here are the winners for the event. It's a bunch of videos, you can check them out if you want. Of course, these are very interesting as they are the best submissions of a league long. Also some stats, and there are a couple interesting ones. For example, 2000 items were hidden in a specific location that no one has publicly noticed. So how did that happen? I have no idea. Also, 3 Dark Shrine effects were not discovered by player and did not occur in the leagues. This is actually incredible considering how many players played, how many shrines were actually used. Although I'm pretty sure many of the players just try to get their perfection or a Corrupting Tempest or whatever they wanted, so yeah. There's also a lot of players who won specific MTXs for reaching a specific level, so grats to them, that's pretty cool. Also, we got, of course, before, just about before the Talisman started, we got a peek at the challenges. This time we got 2 MTXs, so every 7 challenges you complete, you get a part of the Rigwald's armor, and you only need to complete 28 challenges to get the full armor, so the challenges are 32, so you can leave out 4. However, if you want the full totem, you will get the first piece at the 18th challenge you complete, up to the last piece at the 22nd, so you will need to complete all the challenges for the totem. Some of these challenges are really easy, like killing normal bosses, or master crafting these types using rare talisman shouldn't be a problem. However, they scale down to the ones you will really need some decent builds. For example, fully clearing twinned maps like tier 15, tier 14 maps with double boss are not going to be easy, although you can still buy these kind of challenges, so most of the challenges you will be able to buy them, although you will need a lot, and I mean a lot of currency. For example, items from vendor recipes, you'll need to make a Kingmaker. It's like, what? That's pretty crazy. Also the Vinctar Square, which is supposedly a new map obtained by selling the 4 corner stuff, so that's also pretty damn crazy. Redeeming sets of divination cards of the following sizes, so cards with 12, that's going to be long, although you can still buy those. You can still buy a lot of those. Identifying unique items, it's a lot of effort. Identifying these treasures, it's crazy. You only need to identify 4 of these, although they are all really rare. Wind Reaper, Void Battery, Sharon's Wrapping, Mjolnir. These are all very crazy. Fully leveling Zana to level 8. Some of these challenges just need you to go full time into the game, as it's always been, but there are many you just complete by playing, for example, killing Cruel Act bosses, killing Merciless Act bosses. So I think having more challenges gave GGG the opportunity to kind of spread them between very casual players and very hardcore players. And depending on how much you play, how hardcore you go on it, you will be able to complete more and more of the challenges. So I think that's actually pretty cool. Also having double MTXs is also really cool. I think the challenges are definitely going in the right direction. Of course, we also got the patch notes. Well, I'm not gonna talk about this because these are, as you can see, so goddamn long. Really long. We can see that finally improvements to some of the skills and some of the ground effects have made it in, so now the game should feel much better in terms of FPSs. If you notice fire, for example, the Firestorm skill now has a new effect which looks much better, and it's less heavy on the computer, so that's really good. Of course, a billion skills have been released, not really a billion, but a lot of interesting skills have been released. Some of those are really crazy. I've been trying Blade Vortex myself. The skill is really strong, however make sure you get those defenses because you will be in the face of the enemy. And last, well, beside the Vanishing Die, which makes your gear disappear as a strange MTX, but GGG listened to the community and got it out. What interests us here is the fact that we know these leagues will end on March 4, 2016, so that's a bit less than 3 months. It's actually a bit less than 12 weeks, so it's kind of a normal league's worth. Although I can already see GGG pushing for the new expansion, the Ascendancy expansion, since we already got Ascendancy packs and we already got news for the Ascendancy and all that stuff. March 4, mark the date, because that's going to be another really cool update. And I think that was all for this week. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like and a comment down below. Also, if you want to remain updated every week, be sure to subscribe to my channel. So that was all. I've been your host Giorgio, and I'll see you guys the next time.